Welcome to The Longest Turn. This is episode 81, AlphaBracketology E through H. My name is Tyler.
Hello, this is Kevin.
This is Tyson.
In this episode, we're going to talk about some of the games we've been playing lately, and then we're going to get into our second bracket in our AlphaBracketology series. We previously did A through D.
And there was some exciting outcomes that came from A through D. We posted all of this on Discord, and we'll do the same thing again for this bracket. But I thought it was really interesting that there was some conversations post our episode release about our picks and the right picks.
And how we were wrong.
Correct.
Basically, right? Yeah.
Which I'm completely fine with.
Oh, yeah.
I think there was some things that we picked were the wrong picks as well.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Blood Rage making it all the way to the end was...
No.
That was one of the right
picks.
picks. Yeah, that one was completely accurate.
We're about to ship some games to the winner who predicted the most accurately our brackets.
Yep. Congratulations.
Or our bracket. That was Saja or Revision, Rayvision. We're not sure how to pronounce that tag.
You should probably tell us, Ryan, what the actual pronunciation of your handle is.
Yeah. I got his BGA account name down.
You did, yeah.
But yeah, not sure on Discord.
Now, I will also say that he was one of the few who picked a perfect bracket at all. Like I think
one of the letters.
One of his letters was perfect. It scored a perfect 11 points. That's the maximum points you can get on it. And he was one of the few. I will say that I'm ashamed to admit that Tyler was the one who picked the most perfect brackets. He got 3 of the 4 brackets perfect.
I did, but
3 of the 4 perfectly?
Yep.
I did not know that.
On the other one, though, I only got 4 points.
Yes, you did.
Which
you
allowed
tanked that B
Which
bracket.
allowed me to catch up.
Yeah, we tied.
And we ended up tying, yes.
So yeah, it's great. At the end of all of this, the player or anybody who submits a full complement of brackets is going to have the most potential points, right? So we'll combine all your points at the end. And so if you want to jump in now, it's still early in the alphabet. Feel free to jump in and participate in this contest. All you need to do is join our Discord, fill out a bracket, and submit it to the submission page.
Yeah, and looking at these letters, who knows what's going to happen? So you could do well or you could not do well. So there's a chance to catch up, is what
Absolutely.
I'm saying. Yeah.
Are we doing total points at the end gets the winner, or whoever wins our
The
final bracket?
Oh, that is a good
Right.
question, yeah.
I was thinking just all the letters have a final bracket, and whoever wins that one wins,
Yes,
right?
that's kind of what I
Maybe?
was thinking. But we could give a runner or like
A secondary kind of
for like longest listener
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I guess we haven't fully discussed
Yeah.
it. We will figure that out.
Or I can just edit that all out,
Look,
and we
true.
can come back to it
planning
later.
on the fly. All right.
It works
Pulling
every
back the
time.
curtain.
You know what's a travesty?
What is a travesty?
That ARCs did not make the A bracket.
That is
Last
a travesty.
episode.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
And I say that with complete sarcasm.
it hurts my soul as well.
you
Tyler.
say that sincerely. I tried to get ARCs into the A bracket.
It would have been the first game knocked out.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Except here's the thing. Tyler was a little bit wishy-washy on ARCs. When we posted our last episode, we have since
Played it again.
played ARCs.
Well, and I've played it as well.
Oh, and
right?
it's an amazing trick taker game.
Yeah, you love.
He's come
you
around.
love
He
the
admits
fact that
it's a trick taker.
It is a trick taker.
You don't think it's a trick taker?
So my son had a birthday, and he was given ARCs from one of his friends, which, wow, that's a pretty sweet gift to get from one of your friends.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so we had a game night at Tyson's, and Logan came to, and we played Tyson's copy of ARCs. We played with one of the expansion.
The mini
little
expansion, yeah, the Leaders in Lore expansion, which I hadn't played with up to this point. It just adds a little asymmetry in the start of the game. You get a unique leader and a unique card that gives you abilities.
Yeah. So Logan had read all the rules. He was ready to go. I needed a refresher from Tyson. We got into the play, and I will say that ARCs is a beautifully designed game that is 100% not for me.
That was
and
determined.
it is a beautiful game.
It is a beautiful
the
game.
art is amazing as well.
The art's great. The whole design, how important turn order and the tricks, the cards that you play down in the form of a trick to determine turn order is just a really cool mechanism.
It's incredibly clever, right? Like how they're doing that and everything. I will say that as we started the night playing this game, I was sitting there and I was watching Tyler, and he was optimistic. He was willing to give this a chance, especially for Logan, so that because if Logan loves this game and they can play it, maybe it's a great game. I could see that. I could see that twinkle in your eye.
You were giving it a chance.
And
so you're saying there's a chance.
And that twinkle slowly and then immediately went out about halfway through the game.
And his soul was crushed.
The problem was I wanted to play a Euro game, not a strategic, tactical, stab people in the back
your
game.
neighbor.
Yeah, I want to steal all your resources and cards game. So yeah, it's a great game. It's beautiful. I felt the same about this play as I did my first play. The first play I thought I was going to win. Mark came in and stole it at the end.
Right? Who won in this game that we played?
Hold on. And Mark stated at the time, wow, that's like the least fulfilling, satisfying win I've ever had. And that's how I felt when I thought I was going to win. This game, I ran away with it.
Yes, you did.
And it was not fulfilling or rewarding or satisfying at all.
I have a question. How many times have you won this game, Tyson?
I have won. I've played it 5 times. It's only once or twice that I've won it, I think.
Right.
It
But
may
you've
have been
loved
twice.
every play, right?
Love is hard to say. Only because so when I am bringing a game to the table, right? And you guys have had this experience, I'm sure.
Yeah.
When you bring a game to the table, it's even if it's a game that you love and the table is not enjoying the game or the experience,
that's
it's
tough.
hard for me to appreciate it, even though I loved the game, right?
Especially
I
when
could get
somebody's pouting and
Yeah.
and making poor me comments.
But nobody
when their
would ever do
son
that, right?
Stabs them in the back. And I wanted to play a peaceful Euro game. I just wanted
You
to
were
stay in
in
my
your
own
corner.
corner
Yeah,
of the galaxy.
Puppies and flowers.
Logan goes in, wipes out half of his fleet
Obliterates
against Tyson.
yeah.
And then in retribution, you wiped him out on that side of the board. And then he takes his other fleet on my side of the board, the side that I was most prominently on, and he moves them into my capital city. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing? You
steals
just
all the resources.
Yeah,
in
it
your
steals my
guys.
resources. That is the one thing that really just pisses me off about this game is that there is no true way to protect what you've built up. You can try to mitigate it. You can try to put up enough to defend, but to successfully pull that off, I have a hard time believing that it is 100% guaranteed that you can limit what
I can't say
people
that
can
you're
do.
wrong or you're right in that scenario. I haven't played enough to be certain about that, but what I can say is that demonstrates to me the interesting spirit of trick taking in general, of like a trick taking game. I'm not saying that this is explicitly a trick taker because it's not. But what I am saying is that a spirit of a trick taker is interesting because when you're dealt a hand in most trick takers, what you're looking at is I have either terrible cards or great cards, but how do I use these in a way that the round unfolds to be able to do that? And I think that Arcs does that magnificently in capturing that kind of a spirit, because if you're going to play Arcs as a Euro style game and you have this plan of what you're doing, it's just going to come back and slap you in the face, right? Like, it's not going to let you do that. You have to play in a way that is making you make the right decisions for what's going on tactically on the board. Now, Tyler did not want to. He said he wanted to go turtle, right? And like just play his own game and be peaceful and economic and whatever. But the people around him was not like the situation
Aggressive.
was not letting that happen.
Leave me alone.
aggressive.
And so he had to play correctly. And because you did, I think that's what ended up allowing you to win ultimately anyway, because you reacted to the state of what was happening.
I think I was in a position to run away with it had Logan not attacked me. So I think he made the right choice.
Right.
But then I turned around and obliterated him, and he was a non-factor for most of the rest of the game.
It gave me a chance to catch up quite a bit. Like I came, there were a couple of things, if Logan hadn't done them to me, that would have made me a more competitive partner in this game. But like I think that because of that, it was interesting. I don't know. I've played this a lot now. I like this at 3 players. I don't know that I've only played it once at 4 players. I think the best experiences I've had with this are at 2 players, because every time I play at 2 players, at least the people at the table who are playing want to be playing the game.
Well, and you know that you're going to get attacked in that situation.
And you know who's going to attack you.
And you know who you're going to be attacking back. Where in a 3-player, it's kind of, it can feel kingmakey. It can feel 2 versus 1.
It's like Hoplomachus, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you're playing a free-for-all in Hoplomachus.
Yeah.
You can get teamed up against, and it doesn't feel
That's a great feeling. Yeah.
I will say, like, the decisions within each round are awesome. Like, the decisions of what cards to play and which ability to use and how to...
Taking initiative and controlling that in the right way at the right time, right?
Yeah, like, the decisions there are awesome.
Or even declaring the ambitions, or not declaring, like forcing the ambitions to be declared a specific way.
I know this would throw the game out of balance, but if this had like a more Voidfall-ish feel to battle, I might like it more.
Well, I'm
deterministic type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm completely okay with playing Voidfall. So if that's what you're saying, is that we're gonna start playing Voidfall again.
Well, let's do that.
It does drive me nuts that you can leave a fleet of ships in someone's space where they only have a city, and you can just sit there and repeatedly
tax them if you have the cards to tax.
Yeah, like, and there's nothing that person can do. They don't have a spaceport there, so they can't produce ships.
They have to take us several turns to be able to maneuver their fleet over there or whatever. Yeah.
So that can be frustrating too. Whatever. The game is beautifully designed. It's a beautiful game. It's wonderful. It's just not for me, especially in a 3-player setting. I would still maybe try it at some point on a rainy day, 2-player. I don't know.
Glowing endorsement for 2-player right there.
I don't know. That's how you sounded the last time you left Arcs. You were like, I would maybe play this one again to try it, and you did, and it ended in flames and tears. Like, I think
you're not supposed to feel like garbage when you win a game.
And tears.
like you can feel great when you lose a game. You can feel great when you win a game. You're not supposed to feel like garbage when you lose the game or win the game. Win the game. It just was unfulfilling for me.
I've yet to feel like garbage, and I've lost the game multiple times. So.
Well, it's a war game, right? When it comes down to it, and it's a tactical war game.
And
you mentioned a trick taker. You make the best of a worse situation, right?
Yep.
That's just, it's tactical in that way. So
I mean,
it's basically
it's
basically a war game. Not really.
Okay.
No, it's just not my type of game. So if I'm going to play a trick taker, that's like a make a best of the worst situation type of thing, I don't want to spend 2 hours doing it, right?
Right.
No.
And I don't want to. I don't want to have that negative feeling playing.
Right. I like games that have take that in them, but when they're 3 or 4 hour games and I feel like I can't do anything to mitigate the take that or defend against it or prepare against it. I can a little bit, but not enough that I can make it certain.
So remind me never to purchase a copy of Twilight Imperium.
I have a copy. It's on my shelf of shame.
But there's some people who just love this stuff, right? They love that confrontation. Well, they love, crushing people and
it's great. I
don't get it.
And those people are Tyson.
Yeah.
And other people.
I don't get it because I grew up playing Risk and I love that. There are games that I love where you're attacking each other, but I don't know why.
It just feels different to you.
Well, the thing with Risk is it can take 3 days to finish a game of Risk.
There you go.
So.
Yeah. But there's ample opportunity to turtle in Australia or South America.
Yeah, there is.
Anyway. So it's a real shame. Arcs did not make the brackets
so
for
you
the
think
A games.
You guys would play the campaign with me? Is that getting off my shelf of shame? Is that what it sounded like?
I think Logan would love to. Logan loves the game. He thinks it's amazing, and he would happily play that.
Eric,
our friend Eric, has said that he would play it with me. Yeah. So I still hold on to a little glimmer of hope that my shelf of shame pick in Blighted Reach campaign
you'll get that played.
Gets played.
I mean, do you really want to have a perfect score with your shelf of shame at the end of the year to show us up?
Yes, I do. All
right. That is Arcs.
Yeah.
Woo!
That was a lot to talk about Arcs, right? let's talk about other games that we've been playing lately. I want to talk about a game that I've been playing a lot of. So I've talked about it before. The BGG Climbers geek list on Board Game Geek. I watch that sometimes, and sometimes I'll go shopping based off of that list. I bought a couple of games on that, and one of them was Unstoppable. This is a solo game mostly, but it is a trick-taking card. Not trick-taking, sorry. It is a... well, I got trick-taking on my brain.
I don't remember trick-taking in it. Oh, okay.
This is... Unstoppable is a card crafting deck building game. It's designed by John DeClaire and published by Renegade Games. So if you know John DeClaire at all, you know that he does a lot of card crafting games. He's done Dead Reckoning, Mystic Vale.
Yeah.
And a lot of different card crafting games. I think he was in Edge of Darkness. Is that him?
Sounds right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Listeners can correct us on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So John DeClaire has this card crafting system. We talked about this card crafting system in our last bracket episode when we talked about Dead Reckoning a little bit. And I had mentioned that Dead Reckoning is not my favorite card crafting game.
Ooh.
It is now Unstoppable.
Oh, there you go.
So the way Unstoppable works is that it is a cooperative game, 1 to 2 players, but mostly a solo game, and you're trying to defeat a boss. Every person has their own deck of cards, starts with 10 cards, and you select a character that is unique to you that has 3 of those 10 cards being unique to you. So you're deck building in this game and trying to craft cards as well to battle a boss. And there's 3 different bosses in this space game. I'm hoping that there's more content that gets added to this later and we get additional boxes.
I'm sure there will be.
I really hope so, but we'll see. But yeah, so essentially on your turn, what you're going to do is you have an action point system. So every card has a action point that you have to spend to be able to use it. And you start the round by gaining 3 action points. And then you draft a card. And the cards are in a market of level 1 to level 6 cards. And these cards are like the higher up of level of cards they are, the better the cards are, like substantially. So as
like
you're
insanely good.
Like you feel so powerful when you
right.
start to get these really high level cards. It's really interesting. But every round you automatically are going to draft a card. There's no buying these cards. You just automatically get it based off of where your level marker is during that period of time. There are ways that you can move your level marker up throughout the round, and then you get a free card essentially. So you're going to get that, and then you start the game with 3 cards that drawn, and that's the only time you draw cards the entire game. Because there is
Which is weird.
It's so weird, right? There's no actual card draw in this game. Because on one side of your card is the cards that you're using, but on the back side of the cards are the threats. And so the only way to get cards out of your deck is to kill the threats on the back of them, and when you do so, they come into your hand immediately, and you get to play with those cards.
And there's a little indication on those cards of what's on the back side.
Yes.
So there's decisions to be made on what you're going to eliminate.
Which enemy am I going to try and kill?
Exactly, because then that goes right in your hand, which is cool.
Yep. Yeah. And then the other thing is similar to, we've talked about Hoplomachus a couple times already this episode, but like similar to Hoplomachus's keyword system, right? Unstoppable has keywords in it. So like they have the taunt card, right? Like the taunt keyword, which means that if there's an enemy with taunt on it, you have to attack that enemy first. But here's the interesting thing is that every round you're always going to have at least 3 threats available to attack. And they're going to attack you back if you don't kill them by the end of the round.
And maybe more.
But there could be more because on your deck, because it's a double-sided deck, you're always showing an enemy that's coming up. And that's called the on-deck threat. And that on-deck threat can, if it shows a keyword like taunt, you have to attack it. Even though it's not going to attack you, you have to attack the on-deck threat before you can attack the guys who are actually going to attack you, which makes it interesting. Or kind of what Kevin alluded to, right? There's the fast keyword, which is if there's a fast ability, it means you're going to populate additional enemies.
They jump off that on-deck stack right into your active threats.
And it'll cascade, right? Like it makes this like big like avalanche of enemies.
All of a sudden I have 7 threats I have to deal with.
At one point, Kevin and I played, right? And Kevin had like 3 or 4 fasts on top of each other. And he's like, oh no. Oh, that's worse. Oh, how am I going to handle this? And he had like 6 or 7 enemies that he had to deal with in one round. And when you don't have the ability to draw cards and you only have a few cards, you can only do so much in a turn. So you have to be able to find ways to do that. And one way to do that is you can actually buy upgrades. There's a row of cards for upgrades that you can go through, and you'll buy these upgrades and you can add them to any card that you have in play or in your hand. And if you have what are called allies, which are kind of like in Star Realms or Ascension, they're kind of like the constructs or the bases in those games where they just are persistent things that stay from round to round. So it makes it interesting. As you upgrade these cards, though, you have to be careful because upgrades are going to upgrade not only your cards, but they're also going to upgrade the enemies on the back. So when you shuffle your deck eventually, you're going to have to face stronger threats every time.
And once you do, though, you defeat that card, then you get that powerful card back into your hand.
Yes.
So that whole balance is super interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've played this, like I said, 13 times. I've played it once now at 2 players. And I'm loving this game, especially as a solo game. But playing it 2-player, Kevin, I thought that was a really fun experience. But it is basically multiplayer solitaire.
So I've only played it 2 players, just one time. But after playing it 2 players, I think it's a single player game. I think that's where it probably shines. It was interesting because you can attack whoever you're playing with, their threats as well, which we did a few times.
Yep.
But like you said, it's for the most part multiplayer solitaire. It gave me vibes of like Daybreak, where it's a cooperative game, but you're kind of doing your own thing, and there's a little bit of interaction with other people, but not a whole lot.
Right.
You know? So that was a little bit strange.
There were a
still
few
fun.
cards that had some like interactions. Like you acquired a card at one point,
right,
that allowed me to refresh one of my allies that I'd already activated.
Right, which you hadn't experienced before because you played it by yourself. So that was cool.
It was unique and interesting, and I was like, oh, that allows me to do a lot more stuff potentially.
Yeah, one thing I thought was a little bit weird too, because the way it scores at the end is a little bit strange.
Agreed.
Right? And when you're playing with 2 players, it's like ultimately we beat the bad guy, but then you're kind of going for a high score.
Who beat the bad guy best?
Who beat the bad guy best? So it has like a legendary feel to it if you played that game, because legendary, it's a cooperative game, but you get points based on who you defeat. So there's an ultimate like winner kind of, which that's always rubbed me the wrong way in that game. And this game, it was kind of the same feel. It's like, hey, we cooperated, we beat this guy, but Tyson scored more points.
Yeah.
So he beat him better, So that was a little weird.
It is,
right?
It is interesting because that's like a point achievement system, and like,
right, yeah.
It is ultimately win-lose, right? Like that's how the game works. But to check how well you did, and that's how I've played it as a solo, is like, how well am I doing? Am I getting better at this game, right? Like,
and
it's
I
a
can
way
see
to
that
track
in a solo experience. That makes perfect sense.
But in a 2-player game, it was like, wait, I beat you, but we were teammates. This is confusing, right?
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
Did it make the game more exciting playing 2? Or was it, I mean, you're already capped out with the solo player.
So we had this conversation, right? Like, I think it's a phenomenal game solo. Like, I really, really enjoy this game. I think it's because I love the game so much, I wanted to be able to share it with somebody else and be like, hey, experience this. So I really enjoyed it at 2-player because of that. But I don't think 2-player necessarily adds anything to the experience overall, except for the ability to be like, hey, look at this cool combo I just did. And like, and that it is cool to watch something cool. Like when Kevin had 7 enemies and he just like wiped them all out. I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. But like you're playing simultaneously.
Yeah.
So you almost have to go, hey, look at what I just did.
Exactly.
You know?
Draw attention to what, look
Right.
at me, look at me.
Yeah, it's cool over there what you're doing, but look at this. This is awesome. So you're not taking turns.
Correct.
You're doing it at the same time. So
You're just playing side saddle with each other. Like it's
it's like I don't know.
How many bosses are there?
There's 3, and the first 2 are basically the same style of boss in that it's defeat the boss with put the most damage on it. But the second one has little secondary objectives that you have to beat before you can start putting damage on the boss. The third boss is a narrative storytelling experience, actually. It's a choose your own adventure thing. So it has branching narrative to it, which actually I think could, at a 2-player, be a better experience. And that would be the one you would want to play maybe at 2-player, because now you can discuss, okay, we have to go to this planet and do this thing. Do we want to take this choice or this other alternative choice here, right? And so there could be some more interaction at 2-player there, but you can't really play that one, I don't think, in a learning game. Like there's enough to learn in this game up front that you wouldn't want to dive into that boss, I don't think.
So it gave me vibes of Mistborn, the deck building game.
Did it?
Yeah, and it's the same designer, right? So in Mistborn, I think you got to defeat those locations first before you go after the Lord Ruler.
Really?
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean,
because
that's the strategy,
he
right?
regenerates, gets a ton of health back.
Yeah.
This one, you've got to get rid of those.
The triumvirate's little, there are 3 operational locations.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of a similar mechanic there. And also when you're playing, you got to keep track. And this is one of the things that's a little fiddly, right? It's you may have a card that allows you to attack 4 different enemies, right? You attack an enemy and you defeat that enemy. That enemy then gives you a bonus to attack somebody else. And attacking somebody else and defeating them could give you another bonus.
Which pauses the card.
Keeping track of the order of operations.
So it's like, okay, now I got to go back to my original card where I've only used one of the attacks. And then, okay, I'm on my second attack, And that's a little bit of how Mistborn was, a little bit. So it's not really a negative. It's just something to kind of be aware of, and it's a little bit could be fiddly.
I think there are some negatives to this game. Like honestly, looking at this game, in fact, I will tell you that the first 3 games I played of this game, I lost, and that just outright. Not saying that losing is a negative. In fact, I want to lose, and at
a tough co-op game is good.
Exactly, that's what I want.
Yeah. Losing is a disease.
Losing is a disease. As contagious as polio.
Losing in this game, it's like this game is tough. It has an easy, hard, and expert mode, and I have lost on easy. I think I've lost this game more than I've won. And I've played 13 times. I think I've lost 7.
Wow, 13 times.
So it's hard, but again, that's not the negative part of it. My problem was I read this rule book, I watched rules videos, and I went through this, and I still didn't have all my questions answered from reading the rules. Now, it's not to say that the answers aren't in the rules, but this rule book is not a good referenceable rule book for me. I struggle to find the answers. They're in there somewhere. You just don't know where to look. And when you don't have a complete grasp on this, there may be problems. I've read forum posts on this one, and I've seen a lot of people have similar struggles and then just be like, this game is so random, it's problematic, whatever. And I think it's because you have to understand that this is a different style deck builder than what you're used to, especially with the you can't draw cards kind of a thing, and figuring out the cadence of what you're doing. It can be difficult. And then it's hard to wrap your head around how much health a threat actually has, because it takes their attack value, which with a defense value, and adds that together. But the rules don't tell you that also there's a threat level that is a variable score that's dynamically changing throughout the rounds, and it doesn't immediately tell you that answer. That's on the reference sheet, but it's not in the rule book readily available. And so I had to look all over and read forum posts and to really get a full understanding to feel like I was playing this game correctly. And that was a problem, but it was worth it once I figured all of that out.
So I'm glad you figured it out, because it was a good first play and experience for me because you know how to play the game, so
Yeah.
which was cool.
It sounds like it has a decent amount of replayability then if you've played it 13 times. So even if it doesn't get an expansion, you would still continue to play this.
So I did get an expansion for it. The stretch goals on the Kickstarter are an expansion that you can buy, which I did.
You just threw that in though, right?
No, I actually bought that at later hand.
Oh, I thought you.
So I didn't back this on
Tyrant's
Kickstarter.
End.
Yep, Tyrant's End.
Have you played with that?
Yeah, it just goes in the game now.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Yeah, you added it in there.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. It adds 2 new characters that you can play with.
and another keyword, I think, or something
And
like
another
that.
keyword and new cards, right? Like it adds more content to the game. So there's no reason you wouldn't play without this expansion. Anyway, I think this game is great. There's so much to like about it. There's a lot of replayability. I'll be playing this for a while, and I'm hoping there's more content for it. But yeah, there's some things to be aware of too going into this.
Yeah, it's a good one. I
That's
like it.
unstoppable.
All right, so I'm going to talk about a quick little card game. This came from Amigo. We got a review copy. It's called Cabanga. Last episode, or a couple episodes, I talked about Fritanga. Now we're talking about Cabanga. This is a card shedding game. It plays 3 to 6 players. The designer is Michael Modler. Sorry, my eyes are terrible. And the artwork is by Creative Bunker. This game came out in 2023. I really like it. So how you play is you have 4 suits of different colors, blue, red, purple, and yellow. And the card values that are in the deck are 1 through 18. And when you set up the game, you put out the 4 color suits, and then on either side of them, you put a starter gray card that each have a number value on the side. So each color has 2 piles next to it. You're going to be dealt 8 cards. You're trying to get rid of your cards first and score 0 or as few points as possible. On each turn, you'll play a card. And if I played the 8 blue card, I put it on one of the stacks that is next to the blue suit card. And the other card that is face up still determines if people can Cabanga me or not. The rules actually say you're supposed to throw cards at someone when you Cabanga them. But so basically, if I play an 8 and the other blue card is an 18, anybody at the table who has a blue card between 8 and 18 can Cabanga me, play the card, get it out of their hand, and I have to draw a card to replenish for that penalty or that being Cabanga'd. So now I'm further away from getting rid of all my cards. If I play the same suit as the person that just played before me, I also have to draw a card. Sometimes that's the optimal choice. Instead of creating a gap of like 10 numbers or 12 numbers, you play your other card that is safe, but you know you'll get a penalty card for. So you're trying to get rid of all your cards. If you can't do that, then you're trying to get rid of all the cards that have multiple diamonds. They range in value from 1 to 3 diamonds on the cards. Those are the negative points against you at the end of each round. The game ends over a series of rounds once somebody reaches negative 18 points. Before we played tonight, I had played 5 times, and my average was negative 18 with 0 deviation. I was the loser in 5 games. I played this at 3-player. There's less Cabangaing going on in a 3-player game. In a 6-player game, which I've also played, you're getting Cabanga'd and you're Cabangaing other players nonstop, and it's really fun. I really enjoyed this quick game. It takes 10, 15, 20 minutes to play. It's just a shed your hand game like Uno. It was a lot of fun.
You mentioned that we played it tonight. Kevin and I played it for the first time. I want to point out that you forced Kevin to play a house rule.
I did?
You did.
We played a house
that
rule?
the rules require you to throw the cards.
Yes.
And
Yeah, there was no
you
throwing.
just house rule that to not throw cards.
I generally don't like to throw game pieces at people. I've been Yeah.
Is that a house rule
Well,
you're okay with, Kevin?
I'm fine with that. That along with no eating game pieces.
Oh.
Yeah.
But sometimes Tyler breaks those rules. You just never know.
I don't know that any game rules have that. In
There's
the
a game
games.
called Don't Eat Pete. That's
It's in the rules.
it's in the rules. You eat.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah. You must be thinking of that because I have a new copy of Praga Kaput.
That's
Regnate
exactly
Right on the table in front of us.
I was talking to my brother the other day, and he had a slight criticism of our podcast. He says it's just too long, And I said, yeah, we just like talking about games. Sometimes
Yeah.
we just we're a little long-winded. And then he brought up eating pieces of games, and he says he's just terrified to play games with me because if somehow a piece gets in his mouth, then I get mad. And I'm like, you listened to that episode, didn't you? And he's like, yep.
Nice. That's awesome.
So yeah, he listened to the infamous Praga episodes.
Yeah.
There you go.
I saw a copy on sale for like $18 bucks. So I was like, you know what? That game's fantastic. That's one of the better Vladimir
brand new
Suchi
cop.
games. So
great.
I'm adding it back to my collection.
Without bite marks in this copy, so that's
Yeah,
probably
a little
selling
sad that we don't have that egg anymore. But
I will.
Somebody does though.
that's right. Some poor sap that went to Origins that year.
We definitely did a squirrel rabbit hole kind of a
Yeah,
situation
Cabanga.
here.
Oh, Cabanga.
I will say that Cabanga, having played it at 3 players, it was interesting. It was fine, but the way you described it at 6 players is the player count. I think I would prefer to play
Yeah.
that at because I could totally see it just being hectic and crazy
Yeah.
and fun
Yeah, it's
with like
a
you
party
get
game.
Cabanga'd by a bunch of people.
It's a little more tame at 3-player
Yeah.
for sure. I still like the anticipation and the dread of when you're playing a card that creates a gap of 8 or 9 numbers and you just
What's
don't
gonna
have
happen?
a choice. Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. And then sometimes you get slammed with 4 cards and somebody goes out and you get a ton of points, or
Or you luck out.
it just goes on to the next person's turn and you're safe. So, that's Cabanga. It's a really quick card game that you can play at the start or end of your game night, or just if you have a few minutes to play. It's definitely a fun little card game from Amigo.
Nice. All right. So the game I'm going to talk about, this is a reprint of a game we've talked about before. So this is Quacks, not Quacks of Quedlinburg.
It's Quacks. Flat.
It's just Quacks, right?
Tyson's going to sleep.
Yeah, Tyson.
I was at the game night where
He
this
had
was
a
played.
chance to play this.
You turned it down, Tyson?
He turned it down. Shocking, right?
What'd you play instead?
North American Railways. I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So this is designed by Wolfgang Warsch. The company that reprinted it is CMYK. They were nice enough to send us a review copy of this one. So I'll talk a little bit about how it plays, but we've talked about it before. So in this game, you're brewing a potion. All right. And you are drawing, it's a bag builder. You're drawing ingredients from a bag and you're putting them in your cauldron. All right. And depending on the number of the token that you draw is how many spaces you're going to move along this track in the cauldron. You can stop at any time, and if you stop, you get victory points and money based on where you stop, or you can press your luck. So this is a press your luck game. And there's what are called boomberries in your bag, and if you draw 8 or more in value of these boomberries, your pot explodes, and you don't get as much good stuff at the end of the round. You have to choose either buying or getting victory points. Otherwise, if you don't blow up, you can do both of those things. These ingredients that you get into your bag, you're going to be buying them. They do various things when you place them on your cauldron, or you get end of round benefits depending on what you place there. One of them, for example, is a mandrake. You place a mandrake, and then if you had placed a boomberry before the mandrake, you get to put that boomberry back in your bag, which is great, right?
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of different types of ingredients that you can play with, right? Different books that you play with that are
Yeah,
set
so
ingredients, right?
like for the yellow ingredient, whatever that's called, boomberry or
No, Boomberry's
Boomberry.
Oh,
Those are the
boomberry's bad.
Boomberries are the white ones.
I feel
the
like we're
mandrake
playing
or the yellow ones,
that
right?
cereal
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Blueberry and Franken whatever.
When you play the Frankenberry,
Each color has like 6 different books that you can play.
Yes,
so really
exactly.
the combinations of different abilities that you could have in a potential game are endless.
right. And there's expansions. a lot of different stuff to add with the expansions that I haven't explored all that, but I think you've probably played most of it, right, Tyler? Yeah. So that's kind of how the game plays. So let's talk a little bit about the differences between the original and this new reprint.
Are there differences?
Not in the gameplay. I think there's one small rules difference on when you count the rat tails to get your rat bonus. I think
at the start of each round.
Yeah, the start. I think you do it at the end of the round instead of the start of the round or something like that. And I think that's the only change. The big change is the art and the production of the new one. And I think the art is going to be pretty divisive to a lot of people, right? Tyler, I don't. How do you feel?
My opinion.
How do you feel about the art?
So I get why they rebranded it so that they can stick it on the shelf at Target and Walmart or wherever mass market.
It has a greater mass market appeal.
It does. It really does.
I love the old art infinitely more. It gives me Euro vibes and just I don't know. I just love the style of the old art.
Yep.
I think I would not be selling my old copy to buy this new one, but I've already got it. So I infinitely love the old art more than the new.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I like the old art better. Agreed.
Yeah.
But what I think the new art matches the gameplay better for what is going on in the game and the experience you're getting. Like, it seems to match better.
Just because it's so much randomness?
Well, what you just said was it gives you the old art gives you Euro vibes in this experience. And it's and that's not what this game is. It's not a Euro experience.
No,
but
at all.
It's a push your luck experience. And I love push your luck, but this one's just one that, for me, overstays its welcome in terms of length of play, I think. But I think that there's a lot to like about it. But I do think that the new art and the new production seems to match the gameplay a little bit better.
Yeah, and I'm with you guys. I like the old art better. I think it is better, but
completely get why they.
But I don't mind the new art, right? And I think I like it. I don't like it as much as the old art, but I like it. What I do like is, so if you get the deluxe version of this game, you get upgraded bits, right? So they're very similar to the Geek Up bits,
which I have
from Board Game Geek,
awesome,
and they're amazing. They're really, but you're paying basically for the game twice if you're going to get those, right? Because they're not cheap on the Board Game Geek
for the Geek Up
for the Geek Up bits.
Unless one of your friends gives you the Geek Up bits, which happened in my case. Ben gave me the Geek Up bits, which was awesome. So.
Well, that is awesome because they're super nice and they're definitely not cheap. This comes with the deluxe version, right? And if you get the all-in version, I think it retails for $100. You can probably buy it for cheaper on an online retailer, right?
Which I think is a great deal.
That's a fantastic deal. It really is. You get these nice bags, you get the boards, you get all the stuff, you get all the expansions, you get these nice, chunky bits that are all the ingredients. I think the production is done really well. So, I mean, even if you don't like the art, the game it's got some really nice components to it, which I think is a bonus. It's fun. You don't like the game, Tyson? I played it again and I still don't really like the game, right? It's just, it doesn't.
There are things I absolutely like about the game,
yes,
right?
but I think it overstays as well.
But that's exactly my, I'm okay with busting and just having random chance, ruin my day if it's a 15-20 minute game.
I mean, it's a 45 minute
Not saying it's
game.
a long game at all.
But it's not
right? 45 minutes to an hour, maybe.
But when that happens over the course of multiple, every time I've played this game, I've been like, oh, I'm on a roll, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm whatever, and then boom, I bust, and then the very next time, the first thing I do, it causes me to bust again. How did
that's just unlucky because I've played 44 times. I just checked. I played 44 times, and I feel like I've had that experience where I just had a terrible score maybe 5 of those times.
And that's maybe maybe we just play bad. Right.
Well, that's
probably it.
It's
right?
very much could be a me problem because
it is a bag builder.
I'm just gonna keep pushing my luck because I'm an idiot.
I feel like
that's fun. I can't stop myself.
I got gambling addictions, and this is not helping. Is what it is.
Like playing it as a family 3-player. I feel like every third game, maybe every fourth game, one of us busted twice in one of the later in two of the later rounds, which is costly and
that's
takes you out of the
brutal.
game.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But
it's a
theoretically can
games.
happen, right?
Yeah.
And the problem with it is if it happens in your early experiences with the game,
Sure, absolutely.
it can totally
It could taint it.
exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a great bag builder. This was probably my first exposure to a bag builder game, and I absolutely love it. I may have played Orleans before. I probably played Orleans before
I
this.
think we may have played it at my house or something.
Yeah, I love both of them. I would pick Orleans over this, but this is great for getting out to the table, a little lighter group.
Yeah.
There
It is good
is
for
some
that.
rules that you have to imprint on people with the books, or try and get newer game. So it's
This
not,
is what this
I wouldn't-
ingredient does.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
Yeah.
this is a gateway game, but it's
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Much more close than Orleans is.
Yeah, I think I haven't played this with my family yet. I think my family is going to just love it, right? I think they're going to connect with the art.
Yep.
I think they're going to like it better than the original. And I think they'll love the push your luck aspect of it. So I'm excited to play with them.
Nice.
Even though it's not my favorite. But that is the new version of Quacks from CMYK.
Which jumped all the way to 71st overall because it just flat out replaced the old version.
It did flat. Exactly.
That's
is
the
kinda
thing
weird.
That kind of bugged me is that I go to look at Quacks on BGG and it's got this new art. And I'm like, that's not Quacks of Quedlinburg.
And it doesn't deserve to be in the top 100. I'm sorry. Like
No, it does. It 100%
It's a good
does.
game. But like there
Let people like what they like. Come on, Tyson.
yeah. Okay. Arcs is 122.
Oh, well, that one. Okay. No, just kidding.
That's funny because I was just looking up art to hate on it. But yeah. I mean, yeah, Arc Nova made it in the top 10 somehow.
You played that one time.
I played it multiple times.
On BGA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't played it. So
I still think I want to get that out. Let's play Arc. Not Arc.
Arc Nova.
Jeez.
It's an Arc game. Let's play Arcs. Let's do it.
Let's play Arc Nova. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll do that
I'll
too.
totally play that again.
Number 3, my art.
That didn't make our A list, did it?
All right.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
I think that wraps up what we've been playing lately. Let's move into our brackets for this episode. E, F, G, and H. I had to almost remember what the alphabet was there, so this could be a sign of bad choices already.
E, I'm going to say flat out was trying to find a needle in a haystack for me a little bit.
was
There
tough.
were a few obvious ones for me, and then a bunch of mediocre or less than mediocre individual picks for me.
I actually felt like E was easier for me to fill out than I think either of you two.
Yeah.
But interestingly, the ones that were easier for me don't necessarily end up in the bracket, right? Because we haven't all played them. And so, yeah, I do think that this is going to be, overall, all of these brackets, I think are going to have a different vibe than A through D had. So I'm curious. I'm interested to see how this one unfolds.
All right, so E's.
Let's run through the list of what they are and then how they're seated.
All right, so in the first one, it's Energy Empire versus Expeditions, as in Scythe Expeditions.
The Stonemeyer game.
Stonemeyer.
Yep.
I will say I recently picked up the expansion for Expeditions, and I unboxed it, and I put it in to my Expeditions box, and as I was looking at the contents of the game, I was like, we need to get this game played again.
Yeah, yeah.
It's awesome.
It's true. Oh, if only those tiles were a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger, yep.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
it is a
rather have
table
them-
hog.
It is a table hog. I'd rather have them be big than too small.
I like it.
Like
it kind of,
Hamlet and Clans of Caledonia.
but it's interesting with the original Hamlet. That's funny. That's such a small game.
Yeah.
But
What is this, a game for ants?
yeah, exactly. But like when I first got Scythe, that was the first epic game that I played,
Yeah.
right? And I got the big extender on the board and everything, and
Yeah.
it just made it feel epic. And I get the same feeling with Expeditions because it does have those huge chunky tiles.
it
It's got
feels-
that big mech and stuff.
It feels like they bumped up the size by like
They did,
25%.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
inside you had to buy the extra stuff to make it extra epic. Not to say it wasn't epic already, but this just comes out the gate as this is big.
Yeah.
One of the other things about this pairing that I think is really interesting for me is Energy Empire is published. The publisher is James Matthey, and he was a prominent board game design resource, similar to how Jamie Segmeyer is. Like, they both have these blogs, these designer blogs. So they both were like big influential people to me. James Matthey passed away a few years back, and so like it was sad to see that. And Energy Empire, they weren't sure what was the future of this one. So Luke Laurie is the designer of this one, but
I was really confused because I was just looking. We're talking about Manhattan Project, Energy Empire, right?
Correct.
Yep.
And I was looking at, and I was like, designer Tom Jolly, Luke Laurie. I was like, where's this James guy that you're talking about?
But he's behind the scenes, right?
Okay.
Like he was the main guy. Like he made all these projects happen. So to me, like it's interesting to see Stonemeyer and James Matthey kind of head to head here. Which anyway, that's just a fun industry kind of trivia deal about it. But
and I'm looking at Energy Empire, and that game is fun.
It is.
And I haven't played it.
I don't remember it, but I remember liking it.
Yeah, and I remember you're stacking tokens on top of each other with actions. It's a worker placement. The production of it was really good, and I remember having a great time playing it. So looking at it now, I'm like, I want to get that out again.
Okay,
right?
Production is good, but is it better than Luke Laurie's Hat Meeples Dwellings?
Nothing tops
Well,
that.
that's as good as it gets right there.
I will. Oh, it's out of stock now. Energy Empire was a backroom sale for $15 on Miniature Market, but it's out of stock.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I didn't pull the trigger.
I think that's because there's a new version of it coming.
There is a new version coming out, yep, with updated art that looks pretty sweet.
Nice. All right, should we do our picks?
Voting between Energy Empire and Expeditions. We got to write those down. Spelling is hard, guys.
I mean, we're not going to judge if it's wrong.
Expeditions.
It was
unanimous.
Woo! All right. Okay, the next bracket is Eminent Domain and Endless Winter Paleo Americans. 2 games that both of you voted for to get in the bracket because I have not played either of these.
Yeah. Interesting pairing, right? So Eminent Domain. So as I was looking at the E games, and I struggled just like you did, Tyler, I'm like, Eminent Domain. I have not played this game forever, and looked it up on BGA. It's on BGA. Recently started playing it, and I'm like, this game is awesome. I love it. It's an older deck builder. It came out in 2011, designed by Seth Jaffe, published by Tasty Minstrel Games. We know what's happened with Tasty Minstrel Games. So it's been out of print for a while now. I just read recently that Rio Grande Games has picked it up. It was on their list of games to reprint, and it should be, hopefully, be coming out sometime this year, which is awesome.
Great.
So it's going to be available for a wider audience. This game, what I love about it is the follow actions. And Tyson, you've mentioned how much you like the follow actions.
I love follow actions.
It keeps
He's trying to sell it to you.
It keeps... Maybe.
I think he's trying to sell it to you.
I'm trying to remember what I predicted because that's what I'm voting for.
Yeah. But it's cool. I love follow actions because it keeps you engaged on everybody else's turn, right? It's like a Race for the Galaxy type of thing. And I see a lot of similarities to Race for the Galaxy in this game. So it's and that's going the other way for me.
I sucked at that game.
Yeah, but it's a fun kind of civilization builder. You're conquering, you're colonizing, you're doing some fun stuff in it.
I will say that Eminent Domain is one of the games that has been on my want to play list for the longest. Seth Jaffe, I actually had some personal interaction with him. Telling me my design sucked. Like when I was like designing games, he was like
Constructive criticism.
No,
there
like
you go.
he was so nice about it, and
Yeah.
like he was trying to be like, dude, you haven't done anything. And it was the first game I ever tried to show anybody, and like he was just so nice and great. And I've worked with Tasty Minstrel, and I know all the guys there, and so like this game was one that I was like, I need to get played. And so it wasn't until recently that I got to try it out on BGA, and there is a lot to like about this game. And it's like a throwback to me in some ways to simpler, more just deck building kind of experiences, like your pure deck builders, right? Where it wasn't so much as deck building was a a part of your tool bag of design things as much as it was that is the game is deck building, right?
exactly.
And so there's a lot to like about it, I actually think, and I love follow actions, and I think it does it really well.
Seth Jeffy's your boy. He designed Crusaders too.
He
right?
did design Crusaders, which I really like. And no, he's a great designer. I will say that speaking of the other one and this one, because I know that Kevin's not going to speak highly about Endless Winter, so that means
I didn't hate it. I didn't.
no,
hate it.
it was more of the experience. So Endless Winter is
It was the endless game.
it was an endless game in what we played, and that was a product of the table at that time, and just the experience. It was at Cabin Con, and we had a lot more time, and we were being easy with our plays.
It was the last play of the night.
Yep,
I think.
and
we
it was.
we were tired.
Yep.
Was that the night you guys left and went home?
It
too?
was that night.
I couldn't handle it anymore after that game.
That was the last night of the con, I think. But like Endless Winter is a deck builder game as well, so it's interesting that it's being paired against Eminent Domain, right? And but it's a deck builder combined now with worker placement. And I personally think of the games in that category that I've played, whether it's Dune Imperium or Lost Ruins of Arnak, or there's a couple of others, right? That are that type of mechanism. This one I felt like did it really well. It's a bit of a heavier game, so you're not like it is going to take longer, and I think that's its biggest drawback. But it has tracks that you're scaling up. It has deck building that feels like Dominion kind of style deck building.
It's got area control.
It's got area control.
Let's throw
and
everything in
geospatial.
there.
It really has a lot, but it's also designed by the same people who do Unconscious Mind, which I'm like, I really like. So like this is a game that I think is phenomenally done, and I've played it a few times now, and I would love to play more of this game. So the winner is Endless Winter.
Yeah, that's what I thought you guys would do.
I
Sorry,
think
that
it
feels
was-
a little wrong because I didn't play either one of them. That I'm the
tiebreaker of that. Yeah,
kind of. Yeah,
but I do think that of the two, in my opinion, I think Endless Winter would be more your style of game, Tyler.
Yeah, because I mean, Eminent Domain is it's not a complicated game by any means. It's a very straightforward deck builder.
Yeah.
It does have an expansion on BGA that I'm interested in trying out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Our next bracket pairing is Ethnos and Isla and Something Shiny. If you haven't listened to the podcast before, Tyson loves Isla and Something Shiny.
It's one of my favorite games.
Story-driven
Narrative game. It has it is the best board game narrative experience that I've had. It's not an overly complex game mechanically, but there is some mechanism in there that is interesting, and there's discovery element, and it's an isolated campaign, choose your own adventure narrative experience. I love Isla and Something Shiny. I think it is, if you like solo games at all, it's one that is well worth your time to check out. And then the other game in this one is Ethnos, right? So
designed by Paolo Mori. This open drafting, set collection, area majority.
it feels like to me a little bit of Ticket to Ride in a fantasy world, right? You're doing the same type of thing, set collecting. You're trying to grab groups of specific things so that you can place things on the board to take control of an area, right? Mm-hmm. It's area control, so it's not route building, but it is area control on that map. And there's some interesting things going on with this game. I think that it has... So interesting thing about this game is it just had a new version released of this,
and a spin-off.
And it had a spin-off version of this. So like it's had a couple of games that have come out of this. It's been reprinted a lot of times. I just sold my copy.
I also
of this.
sold my copy about a year ago.
Well, I sold it within the last few months, and my wife was. It was on Facebook Marketplace, and the guy was conversing with her, and he was like, I see that you have the old version of Ethnos. How much do you want for that? And she was like, the way he's asking this question to me seems like he's
worth something.
There's something going on there. And that was when that announcement came out, right around the time where it was like, this new version of Ethnos is coming out. And so I went on eBay and I looked at how much a copy was going for, and like there were people selling the original Ethnos for like $150 or something. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
It does have the old John Howe art,
Yes.
who is a famous Lord of the Rings artist, and also I think did a lot of Magic the Gathering,
and I think he did Dungeons and Dragons stuff too, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
yeah.
I don't have much to say about either of these. I mean, Ethnos we played.
We have.
We have played that one. Haven't played Isla in something shiny. I don't remember loving Ethnos, though. But I don't know. I'm interested to see how this one plays out. So.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
Okay.
This one may ruin my whole bracket predictions on this one. I don't know how this one's going to turn out.
All right, here we go.
Ready?
I almost picked Ethnos.
All three
You
of
almost
us,
picked Ethnos?
Because I didn't think Isla was going to win.
all three
Well,
of us went with Isla, and Kevin and I have not played Isla. I sold my copy of Ethnos. It just wasn't for me. It was on the list, I think, because there are so few.
There's a lack of
games.
E games.
Yeah.
And hearing you talk about Isla, it just sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fun game.
Yeah.
So, like,
And
that's what I'm
everybody
going
that
with.
I've heard talk about
Yeah.
Isla loves it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I was recommended Isla, right? And then I recommended Isla, and almost everybody who's
That's
picked
so
it up
funny.
has unanimously said this is a phenomenal game.
All right.
So that
It's
feels
moving
like
on.
We got some really weird feeling results.
Yes, we do.
All right. This next one is Everdell and Euphoria.
It's Everdell. I mean, I've had one experience with Everdell. I think you as well, Tyler, right? And Tyson,
I've had a few
You've
at
had
this
a few
point. No,
experiences.
yeah, I've played
So
it a few times.
We played the epic version where pretty much everything was thrown in there.
It
at
took
the
up half a
Cabanga.
football field.
Yeah, we had to bring in an extra table to get the game on.
We did, yeah.
We did.
And the rules specifically say you can do this, but
Absolutely.
you probably might not want to do this.
Yeah.
But the thought was, we're experienced gamers, right?
Yeah.
We can handle it.
Yeah.
We couldn't really handle it.
At
least I couldn't.
We handled
I was
it.
a little frustrated that I was at the end of the table and I think I have the worst eyesight in the
You
group.
couldn't see anything.
I could not see Jack.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was true no matter where you sat at the table. There was something.
this one
if
needed
someone
a-
was like, wherever you were sitting, you're like, the thing that's furthest away from me is just the thing that I'm not going to do in this game because I can't even see what's going on over there.
But I mean, the game's got a lot of great things going on.
Oh,
for it,
I
right?
loved
It's
it.
worker placement. It's got your
Tableau building.
Yep. Drafting. It's hand management. It's got a lot of great stuff.
One of the
going
things
on.
that I did it with one expansion, the Pearlbrook expansion.
seems like the way to go.
Definitely. Like I thought that was a really good experience. But one of the things that stands out to me, it reminds me of, in some ways, is 51st State. So like,
Okay. Yeah.
like for example, it's tableau building, and there's different things that you can do. You can activate the shops of other people in their area and
It's
get
like the
resources.
open production at 51st
Exactly.
State.
It's open
Yep.
production 51st
Yep.
State. Now, one of the best things that it does that I wish 51st State did
got something-
it's got standees right there
Yes.
that like signals that to other players around the table.
You have a 3D printer.
I
You
will
should
absolutely.
yeah.
But I actually, so I mean, spoiler alert, I was going to think about 3D printing stuff for specific games for you guys for Christmas or birthdays or whatever.
would be amazing.
So that was
Yeah, that'd
kind
be
of
awesome.
the thing I was. I was going to
I
surreptitiously.
hope I get something
figure
for
out.
Doris Maximus.
Yep, you're getting Goris Maximus.
You're getting a copy and then a 3D insert.
Suck it, Tyler.
And enjoy it.
Yeah.
Interestingly,
that's-
spoiler alert: Goris Maximus did not make the G bracket.
Did you nominate it?
funny.
I can't remember. All right. So the other side is Euphoria.
Yep.
Euphoria, Build a Better Dystopia. This is the follow-up to Viticulture for Stonemaier.
It's the second
It was the
Stonemaier
second
game.
Stonemaier game.
Yeah.
Before Scythe came out.
Ooh,
And I have one logged play. I think it was at our first Cabin Con.
Yep.
I bought a copy. I bought the expansion, and I've never played them.
Sat since.
Because it was so much fun, right? It
really was.
It
great.
was. It was.
Yeah.
I thought you were being sarcastic for
No,
a
no,
second.
I actually enjoyed the
Implying
game.
that's why we haven't played it again yet. But no, I
That's why
loved
you bought it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was all in.
I remember the like Euphoria had, to me, like between Viticulture and Euphoria, both being worker placement games, having a similar Stonemaier kind of vibe to them, right? Like, I just from a theme standpoint, Euphoria stood out to me as more of an experience, and so I was more engaged with it in that. Not to say Viticulture isn't a better game or not, but like to me, I really enjoyed my experience with Euphoria.
Mm-hmm. I remember really liking it. Worker placement, hand management, and there was some dice rolling. That's about all I remember. I do not remember how to play. I remember
But all good stuff.
enjoying it enough to immediately go buy it.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we vote?
I'm excited about this one. I have no idea.
Everdell,
unanimous again.
Have we been? Oh, we've almost been unanimous on all four.
I know that. Not quite.
I have no idea what I picked. Like,
That's the problem.
I
is
don't
the
remember.
Prediction bracket. I think
Yeah.
I've already screwed up all my predictions because I didn't think people would pick all the same thing.
All right. Okay.
Now we're doing round 2 of the E bracket, right?
Yeah, we got Expeditions versus Endless Winter.
All right.
And I think I know where this is going.
What? How could you know anything?
All right.
Because
right,
I know
here we
what
go.
Kevin's voting for.
All right.
Endless winter. No, just kidding. Expeditions.
Expeditions. Another unanimous outcome.
Okay. Isla and something shiny.
And Everdell. Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
All right. Everdell.
2 of us, Everdell. Tyson with
I was Isla. I didn't even think Isla was going to make it that far, so I think that's
a win.
still wins my prediction bracket. Everdell, but
Interesting that 2 E games from Stonemaier made this list.
yeah,
Oh.
All right. So for the
they're just cornering the market on E games.
like 40% of it. All right. So for the final, we've got Expeditions versus Everdell.
I think I know where this one's going.
Yep.
And
All
the
right,
winner
is Expeditions. All right. Let's go play it.
Yeah, seriously.
Done.
With your new content, I'm all in.
All right.
Ooh, the Fs. I'm most excited about the Fs.
I'm most
personally.
excited.
I didn't give an F.
Oh, there you go. I see what you did there.
I like the Fs. There's a couple in there that I didn't play, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting bracket's going to be H. That's the least predictable one, I think.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I
F
could
should
see
be
that.
interesting. Let's our first pairing on the F bracket is A Feast for Odin up against For Sale. Now, Kevin,
Easy choice for me.
I don't think you've played Feast for Odin. have you?
Possibly. No, I have not played a Feast
And
for Odin.
why haven't you played Feast for Odin? Whose fault is that?
I mean,
Is it
I
my fault?
could have
Oh,
pur-
come on.
I could have purchased the game
I have a
on
copy. You don't
discount
need to
for
own
like
your own
$30.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
did.
$100
It was
game.
fantastic.
Tyler did not
Maybe you
bother
should
to
be
text
checking
me
the
saying,
sales.
See, I just wanted to do that. I
Thanks for
wish I
bringing
had
that up.
popcorn so that I could have just ate. That was what I wanted.
I'm sorry I was in the middle of boarding a flight.
"Yeah, well, okay."
Okay.
But
A
yeah,
Feast for Odin, Uwe Rosenberg,
it's got 1,800 worker placement spots,
12,000 different things that you can buy.
right?
You're trying to fill up your island board and
Geospatially kind of orient Tetris like polyomino pieces,
Yeah.
right? Like doing stuff. You can go whaling, you can go raiding, you can build you
Trinkets
can, and you can farm with
Yeah.
cows and sheep and whatever. Literally anything you could do as a Viking, pretty much, you can do in this game.
It's the ultimate Viking
except
game.
for
Yeah.
Yeah.
it didn't really add. What's that one terrible thing that they do to people when they kill them? What's it called? You know what I'm talking about.
Disembowelment.
Disembowel? No.
No, even worse than that. They
No,
like rip out the
it's-
rib
yeah,
cage
it's-
and anyway, wasn't part of the rating.
Well, this turned
I mean,
dark.
maybe it was part of the rating. Uwe Rosenberg just decided to
Horrible,
maybe
Viking death.
leave it to your imagination here. We're going to have to put a graphic warning disclaimer on this episode.
Blood Eagle.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All
Okay,
right,
so that's
back on
number
track.
one. All right,
Feast for Odin.
A Feast for Odin.
the second one,
For
a classic,
sale.
a classic for
Absolutely.
sale, right?
This is Sid Saxon, right?
I don't believe it's Sid Saxon.
Or am I thinking a different game?
I think you're thinking possibly a different one.
Stefan Dora.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Not even close to Sid Saxon.
Okay. Yeah, so
I
I mean, a two-phase bidding game.
bidding game and then a selling game. You're trying to
then a
sell
selling.
your properties for the biggest profit.
Two phases.
Yep.
Trying to get the most value for your cardboard box.
Right. And when you can
And-
sell your cardboard box for like 5,000, that's amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
And if you don't get the $15,000 for the space station, then you're a failure.
I think
You have played the game wrong.
the degree
I don't
of
think it's possible.
Yeah, right.
Well, it is. You could just not play it in the 15,000 round. But anyway,
Yes.
The degree of frustration in this game that happens when you've been saving up for something and so has everybody else, and your option is like a cardboard box and then like the best stuff all there, and somehow you bid this whole time and then you get the worst option.
You
out
get
of it.
nothing. It's
but
hilarious
how-
for everybody else.
how
No, it's
good,
even-
how
even
good
for you.
does it feel though when you pass first and get like an 18 for free out of
That, yeah.
30 being the
There are
max.
high highs and low lows
Yeah.
in
Yes.
this game.
Yeah. and-
This game, like first, it blew my mind the first time I played
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and it's fun every time I play.
It's really good.
It really is a classic.
So should we vote? A Feast for Odin, which is a giant game, and For Sale, which is a very small box, little
half an hour,
half-hour
35-minute
Yeah.
game.
Ready? And the winner is
For Sale!
I'm not at all
right.
surprised by that, but I voted for A Feast for Odin because I think it is a phenomenal game.
Okay, our next pairing is
Fromage.
Fromage and
And
Fives.
Fives. Trick-taking game from CMYK.
This
One
pairing,
of the magenta
One in the
series.
magenta line. Yes.
and this
yes.
pairing should not be as hard for me as it is.
But it is.
But Fives is a phenomenal trick taker game. Fromage, I think, has the potential to be one of the best games that came out this year. Right?
Yeah.
It's really good, but like
And
Fives,
those workers and how, you have to wait for them if you do more powerful actions. And when they look at you, it's when you
Yes.
get them back is like, hey, it's looking at me. I get to pick up that guy. Is really cool. I mean, there's a lot to like about
It's on
Fromage.
BGA.
I've
It's
been
on
playing it
BGA.
a lot on BGA.
The next one is coming out, and you can mix and match all 8 quadrants.
But I love
and
trick
create all
takers.
kinds of different
That's what I'm
games.
saying as well, is that like this Fives, what it did with trick taking, it was so simple, right? Like it is a very classic trick taking game, hearts, spades kind of feeling with just a slight degree of change to it, where the backs are
All fives.
all fives,
Yep.
and you can do that. Like it was so simple and clever.
And where you're trying to get to like the total value of the tricks in front of you, you're trying to get to, was it 20, I believe, or 21 or something
Yeah.
like that. And whoever gets closest wins. That whole aspect was super interesting.
Well, and it's so funny to watch as people are like, I'm trying to get close, and then you
And
watch
you
them
know-
go over, and you're like, ha ha,
Yeah,
like, this is so
sucker.
satisfying. And then you're like, oh no, but I'm about to go over myself, so I better not take any more tricks here.
Fromage
good.
is so clean and just
It really
a
is.
great design. Great to
It is.
I mean, you can play with literally anybody, first time gamers, but there's satisfying strategy there.
I don't
I
know.
agree.
that-
I agree.
I absolutely.
If you did the base,
you think you could
without
play
the
this,
drafting,
like you could introduce non-gamers to
Oh, yeah.
to Fromage?
oh yeah,
I think there's some complexity to it that
you're essentially here.
It's not.
We're playing 4 mini games. We're putting out little workers.
That's
and you're
where
gonna
the
get 'em back
complexity
out
comes,
1
though.
to 2, 3 turns.
But it has a
Don't
lot of
focus on
foresight.
more than-
That's the problem. Is that like if I want to pay attention to 3 rounds ahead because that's when I get that cheese back, and I want to make sure that I'm paying attention.
Don't get stuck without having a worker.
exactly.
Yeah. Don't
Right.
get stuck without having a worker. Don't focus on all 5 or 6 things that you can do in the game.
I don't know that I would introduce this to
simple
like,
actions.
Like maybe I would introduce it to somebody if they're ready to step up into Euro style games.
Okay.
But yeah,
Maybe.
All right.
But still, it doesn't detract from what
how amazing
how
the game
amazing
is.
it
Absolutely. Should we
All
vote?
All right, here we
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Winner is Fromage.
I voted for Fives, but both great games. Both
Which
great games.
I think I could have been happy with either of those options.
All right. The next one is Fruit Fight versus a much bigger, more epic game, Final Girl.
Yes, but you've never played Fruit Fight.
No, I've heard it described as
Mantis
versus Mantis has a baby with
Flip 7.
Flip 7.
I have not played Mantis, but yes, I believe
And that's
that
exactly
is the case.
how I feel about the game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's push your luck. Fantastic game. Had a blast every time I've played Fruit Fight. Designed by the good Dr. Rainer Knizia. He does some good stuff.
Every time I was in the same vicinity of Fruit Fight being played, there was lots of laughter,
rocking.
cheering,
And, yes,
It's loud.
and excitement.
And that I've played it several times with multiple groups of people, and that's exactly how I felt with it.
I love games that promote that.
Which is interesting because that contrasts that with a pure solo game that there is none of that at all. Because right?
Should we vote?
We haven't even talked about Final Girl.
Okay.
Oh,
Final Girl. Yeah. So let's talk about Final Girl. This is the quintessential horror movie Final Girl trope. You are a final girl versus a monster at a location.
Yep. And it simulates the experience of a horror movie like so well, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
people getting whacked at the campsite
and there's tension and excitement about like where are they gonna go? Are they around that corner? Like,
and I've played this with more than one player. This is a great, even though it's a solo game, it's great to side saddle, sit there and play it together as a couple. It's also great to play season 1 while my wife's on the other side of the table playing season 2, and we're talking about what's happening. And
I could see that being
Krampus
fun.
is.
I haven't tried that, but I do think it is probably one of the most cinematic board games I've ever experienced, and so I could totally see having that. Like, if like you could experience this collectively and have a good time with it.
Meh.
Ken's a hard pass.
Well, I think I've talked about this before. I tried playing, I just couldn't get through it. I did not enjoy it.
Didn't even finish the game.
Didn't even finish the game. Wow. And I don't do that very often. If I start a game, I'm going to finish it. For some reason, this didn't click with me. I would like to play it. You know, it's a single player game, but have my wife there and we play the same game.
Yeah.
I think that could be a better experience, but I don't know.
So let's vote.
Let's do it. I know where this is going.
It is also one of those games where you feel like you don't have a chance of winning, and then when you pull it
I
off,
agree
it's
with that.
exciting.
Like a Cthulhu Death May Die type thing.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Or Anzen.
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Final Girl.
Fruit Fight. No,
I think
not surprised.
again, some of these this F bracket was interesting for me because there's a lot of these games that I'm like, these are really good games, but how they got paired with each other, it made it like. So unfortunately, that one doesn't get a move ahead. But I think they're like Fruit Fight was one that I should, and Fives were both ones that I think should move ahead to some extent. But they got paired against hard ones.
All right.
So this is another hard one. We've got Flip 7 versus Fishing. We've all played Flip 7. Tyson and I are the only ones that have played Fishing. Flip 7, pressure luck game. We've talked about this one a lot. Fishing, another trick taker that does some things that I have never seen in a trick taker before, and it's fantastic, right?
You're building up your hand for later on in the game. Right?
Yes.
Well, and we just got this played another time. Like since the last time we talked about this, we've played this now again.
Yep.
And we played this as a higher player count this time.
Completely changed the game.
And it was a different experience altogether, which was interesting to the point where in the 3-player game, we didn't get through the stack of cards that you could get. So like the trick could have gotten like
cards.
Yeah, the really good cards, which can get you like an 18 value trump card.
Or you play it and you just take the trick.
Yeah.
You know,
but
a buoy that
we never
is
saw
super
half
powerful.
of those cards in our 3-player game.
Yeah.
So it made a really different experience, which was really interesting to kind of navigate.
And the whole balance of, okay, am I going to go for it? Because you get points for every card that you win in a trick. Like I did that, right?
Yes.
It was like the 6th round. And I'm like, I'm just going to go for it. I won almost every trick. I got 45 points in one round. And then you came up and sniped it from me.
You slow rolled
You slow rolled it right to the very end, which was just a cool experience. So fantastic trick taker. But Flip 7 is one of the best, pressure luck games that I've ever played.
It is,
and it's just like it's the hotness right now.
And it's the best party style game I think I've ever played. Right? Like to me, I would play the fact that this can be played with
a 4-year-old or 3-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. I've had some of the best times with my 3-year-old with this game.
I have
phenomenal.
Yeah, I have 32 plays, and at least 17 of those are just with my 4-year-old.
Nice.
I have probably close to 20 plays. I'd have to look, but like same thing, and same experience. I love this game, and again, you can play with up to 18 players with one deck of cards or whatever. That's crazy. That's really good.
I don't want to be in that game.
I don't either. But I mean,
Well, it's one of those just like Fruit Fight where people are cheering.
It was just crazy.
Cheering
Yeah,
around
exciting.
the table. Yeah, and it's exciting.
All right, we ready?
Let's do it.
and the winner is fishing.
Fishing.
What?
It's unanimous. Flip 7's worn out its welcome for me.
Really?
Oh, really? Okay.
It's a great game. I've played it 32 times. I'm ready to move on to other things.
Oh, I
There
think
you
it's
go.
a great game, and the fact that you could play it 32 times is a testament to how good it is.
Absolutely. And I'm kind of done with it. And fishing sounds super exciting to me.
Yeah.
Trick taking where you're building
It
up
is.
the power of your hand over the course of the game, and people can.
Yeah, we need to get that one played with you for sure.
Yeah. So,
It's awesome. Yeah, it is a really good game.
But it wouldn't have mattered anyways because you guys both picked fishing
Yeah.
as well. So,
There you go.
all right.
Jeez.
Round 2, we're going to For Sale versus Fromage.
I almost skipped over the whole point of this thing and went straight to G's. I was like, we got through all the F's. Let's go to G's.
Yeah. No, that's not how this works.
No.
All right, here we go.
Ready?
We ready?
No, sorry.
For Sale against Fromage.
That's right. Okay.
Heavyweight battle going on here.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Fromage.
Sale, dang it. Okay. Well, I love Fromage, but
That was one of the tougher picks for
I
me.
agree. That was
Yeah.
not easy.
All right. And then we have Final Girl versus Fishing. I just
This
wrote
is
Final
a
Fishing.
rough, final fishing. That'll really screw up the votes. on this
Final
one.
Fishing.
I'm half and half, guys.
Fishing Girl.
Fishing Girl. All right. Ready? Final Girl versus Fishing, and the winner is.
Fishing.
Oh! What happened, Tyson?
It's an upset.
That was an audible. That was
you
like
just
last
threw my
minute.
bracket. Freaking
Fishing over Final Girl, really?
Okay, here's my logic.
freaking,
This is recency bias right
Yeah.
here.
I love Final Girl. There's I've talked about Final Girl ad nauseum, but the fact that Tyler just decided to throw out a game he played 32 times and then vote for one he hasn't played at all made that was an upset. That was an experience that I.
But
had.
are you sick of Final Girl? Because he's
No,
sick. He's
I'm
sick
not
of Flip
sick
7.
of Final Girl, but I'm also not I'm not excited. I play Final Girl annually is what I do around Halloween time,
Sure,
right?
sure, sure.
It's just kind of my Halloween game, and I do it.
And you
But
can fish year round.
there's plenty of other solo games that I like. Unstoppable, I'm more excited to play Unstoppable as a solo game, or Paperback Adventures. There are other solo only games out there that I'm more excited about. But fishing is honestly one of the more novel trick taking games I've experienced, and I think it has the potential to have
Yeah.
more
I
staying power.
I completely agree with that.
So I have a question. Did you predict Final Girl beating Fishing?
I think I predicted Final Girl beating fishing.
Because I did, and you just threw my bracket.
Yeah, well, I think I threw my own
did you
bracket.
pick?
I don't remember. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was Final Girl because I thought you guys, I didn't think there was any chance you guys weren't picking Final Girl.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I may have picked Final Girl to win the bracket, to be honest, but I don't know.
I think I did too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well,
All right. So our final pick is between, or the winner is between Fromage and Fishing. And now I don't
knows what
really
the crap's
care what predicts because my bracket's already busted.
yeah. And the winner is Fromage.
That surprises
What
me.
the heck?
That you would pick.
Fromage?
You would pick Fishing over Final Girl, but not over Fromage.
So that means you like Fromage better than Final Girl.
I probably do.
Oh.
I probably like if you look at my top 50 list and
I'm
where
not being
Final Girl
critical.
is.
No, you like what you like.
is that it's not it's over the years fallen on my top 50.
Maybe we need
right?
to do a top 50 again.
And
We just barely did it.
I felt like it was still super high.
I think it's in 20s.
It's like
maybe.
4.
Yeah. Yeah, it went
has
from
fallen
one-
so much in 6 months.
But no, I actually think that Fromage is again how I did the last set of brackets was what game do I want to play more, right? Like, and between the two, I'd rather play Fromage, but I don't know.
right.
They're both great games.
Let's move on to G's. Let's do that. First pairing in G's, we've got Gorinto and Gaia Project. So Gorinto, I've talked a lot about Gorinto. Fantastic abstract game. It's a little bit of theme there, but really it's abstract. You've got elements, you've got earth, you've got fire, you've got water, you've got something else I don't remember.
Can I just
right?
pause for a second?
Yeah.
Final Girl is number 6 on your top 50 all time.
Oh.
Currently, I thought it was in the top 15.
Nope, it was number 6. All right, go.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely not there anymore.
We do need to
All right,
redo
back
our
to
top
Gorinto.
50. So yeah, Gorinto. So you're taking tiles from this grid in the middle, and you're making stacks. There's scoring that you're trying to get. So the scoring is based on the stacks that you're creating, right? So have all of the stacks in equal height, and then you're going to get a certain amount of points. The puzzle of trying to figure that out is so much fun. I've had a blast every time I've tried to play it, every time I've played the game. I just think it's a fantastic game. Tyler's played it. I don't think you've played it, Tyson,
I have
right?
not played it, but I do remember there was a lot of buzz around when this originally came out, and
Publicly or within our group?
No, publicly.
Oh,
I
okay.
think there was a lot of because I remember hearing about it either on a podcast or a YouTube review, and seeing it and being like, that's an abstract game that I really want to play and try. And it was similar to Shobu, right? When Shobu came out, that was an abstract game that people really got into. So to me, it's still one that's really high up on my list of I want to try this game.
Yeah, we should definitely get out and play. I have a blast with it.
So it's going against Gaia Project,
A beefy game.
which is beefy space Terra Mystica.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's
Terra-
also very similar to one of our favorite games, Clans of Caledonia, in a lot of ways.
Yes, it is. Yes,
And
it
I
is.
rejected that comparison back in the day a few years ago, but I
Finally,
Now
came
you
around.
accept-
I've come
now you
around
accept
a
it.
little bit on it.
Yeah.
But I still love Clans the most. But we're talking about Gaia Project.
Yeah. We
so-
already did the C's.
Yeah. Everything Terra Mystica, but in space. I like this more than Terra Mystica personally. I think the tracks are just better in this than in Terra Mystica.
I don't disagree.
I don't know which one I like better, to be honest.
I think that Gaia Project has the potential to be the better game than Terra Mystica.
But it also
I-
had the benefit of coming after Terra Mystica.
Correct.
So it's an
and-
evolution of Terra Mystica.
Yeah.
basically.
And I really still like Terra Mystica. And in fact,
Absolutely.
I think I prefer Terra Mystica over Gaia Project. But that's because I haven't played Gaia Project on the table enough. I've played more Terra Mystica, and I would really like to get it solidified in my head how to play Gaia Project on the table.
Right. So it's between Gorinto and Gaia Project.
And the winner is
Gaia
Gaia
Project.
Project. Sorry.
And that
Yeah.
doesn't take anything away from Gorinto. I think Gorinto is in that space with Azul and
Really good abstract, right?
really good abstract.
Yep.
Nova Luna is one of my favorites, and there's a few others that Gorinto belongs in the same group with.
Abstracts are hard though, because they can be some of the best games, but when you compare them against some high playing games with theme to them, I wouldn't say Gaia Project is the most thematic game necessarily, but
No, it definitely isn't.
It adds a layer to it.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm picking, it's which game do I enjoy playing more,
Yeah.
right? And for me, that's Gorinto. I'm not saying Gaia Project is a bad game at all, but it's a fantastic game as well. But
All right.
is what it is. All right.
The next pairing, the Gallerist, not so beefy.
It's still
Not so beefy. The
Gallerist
lightest game on the list.
is a Vital Lacerda game. It is
Comparative.
beefy in comparison to other games, but in comparison to Vital Lacerda games, it's not his most.
You don't need a
one.
doctorate to play it.
No, but it's an interesting game in that you are thematically there's a art curator and a museum, and you're trying to put art on display. The game even has little easels where you can actually put art cards on it and like put art on display, and it's a worker placement, like workers going around and doing different actions, and it's really interesting. I like Vital Lacerda games in general. I feel like in recent years they have started becoming more and more heavy.
Just
and
complex for
like for the
complexity's
sake of
sake.
complexity.
Yes.
Absolutely. And to me, I'm not loving that as much.
But this one is a sweet spot.
But this one is a sweet spot, and it's good. It and Lisboa have the potential to be some of the most influential or exciting games to me from Vital Lacerda.
Up against A Jest of Robin Hood, which is a GMT game based on the coin system. First GMT game that I had played, and I think you guys as
It
well.
was the first for me as well.
Highly asymmetric. You're playing either as Robin Hood or the Sheriff of Nottingham. The way you play each faction is completely different. Fantastic game. Blew me away.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time we played it. It was the way that it unfolded was super thematic. The story that...
Well, and we were
just,
tit for
it was
tat.
amazing.
It was following
right?
the Robin Hood storyline
Yes.
in how we were playing it,
Yes.
which was great.
It was
But it
awesome.
was like the sheriff would get the upper hand, and then Robin Hood would get the upper hand, and then
Right.
it was just this back and forth, which was really cool. And I mean, I've always been a big Robin Hood fan. Watched the Disney cartoon growing up, watched the Kevin Costner version of it, right? Like Robin Hood, read this books on him. I love Robin Hood, and so thematically, GMT introducing this kind of title into like their kind of more historic war games. This was a good entry point for me to get into and interested in GMT games.
All right.
I may have flashed my vote while I.
Oh no, I
took care
can't
of a
imagine what
message.
that would be.
Yeah.
The game you have played or the game you have not played?
There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Just
Just
Robin
Robin
Hood.
Hood. You guys put R and H in there, and I didn't understand how that worked.
Yeah. Robin Hood moves on.
All right. This one, we all know how it's going to go. Great Western Trail versus Galaxy Trucker.
All right, let's vote. Just kidding.
Yeah.
How did this
Yeah.
end up as the pairing?
Well, I
Random-
had the option. Yeah, this was all done randomly. I nominated Great Western Trail. I think it's a fantastic game. It is not well received in our group.
It's a well-designed game.
Absolutely.
And then you've got, I mean, buying and selling cattle, moving along the board, creating the board paths by adding buildings to the paths. I think it's a great game.
It's a rondelle experience of
Yeah.
like just going around in the same area, but activating different
deck
actions.
building,
Yep.
buying and selling cattle, trying to get as far away from, on the train as you can.
It's interesting that
Drafting workers that have unique slots they go into.
so
Sounds fascinating.
at the top of this episode we talked about arcs,
I
right?
mean, unique workers like, well, okay,
Yeah.
keep going.
Well,
Like
we talked
Anachrony.
about
There you go.
So at the top of this episode, we talked about arcs and how you had an experience with arcs that was you acknowledged that great design, great game, but it's just not for you ultimately. I think that's exactly how I feel about Great Western Trail, is that this is a great game, a great design. I have, every time I've played it, I've had like feelings of frustration, dissatisfaction, and just being like, this is just not
I
for
don't even
me.
think
And
I've
I don't.
ever played with you.
Yes, you have,
We did it at Cabin Con.
and I hated every second of that. Like to the point that
I
I was,
remember playing it at Cabin Con. I don't remember who was in that game.
it was me.
I was in that game,
and I was
yeah,
doing so terribly in the game that I was just like.
We were sitting next to each other having a
and
horrible time.
just laughing about every little thing. Well, I'm gonna do this because it's the worst decision. Like, and there was nothing I
no
could do that
recollection of this.
mattered. But I was trying also not
recollection
to
of
ruin
this
the
place.
experience for you. So I was trying to be like a positive experience so that you didn't have a bad experience with it. But it was not. That's the experience I've had with this game. Every
Was
time
that
I
your
played
first
it.
play?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So the other one is Galaxy Trucker. I bought this game, never played it, never opened it, and I sold it. I bought it because Kevin talked very highly about it. Actually,
This game.
I gave it away as a gift. I didn't sell it.
Oh, well, there you go. Somebody got a great
That's a
game.
great
Yeah.
gift.
So
I would have
that's
taken
what I've heard.
I love this game, right? It is so you're building a ship, right? And it's timed. And then, so it's frantically trying to flip over pieces of the ship and build the ship in the best way possible with all legal connections. Because if you have not legal connections, your ship is already blowing up. And then you're flying it across the galaxy, and there's asteroids that are coming. There's pirates that are coming. Random events
solar
that are coming.
flares, or
and
like.
I have never laughed so hard in my life is when I'm playing this game. Like it's just hilarious, the things that happen to your ship. And
I've heard
it is so much fun.
I've heard the deconstruction of the ship is comparable to your moon colony in Moon Colony Bloodbath getting destroyed.
Very similar vibes, I think.
Similar vibes for sure.
And like, which is why I think if you had the chance, Tyler, to play this with your reception of Moon Colony Bloodbath, I think that you would also enjoy the experience of Galaxy Trucker.
And we throw in all the expansions and play epic games, and there's aliens that get introduced that do
now
fun
I will
things,
say that
it's really fun.
If you don't like the speed timed element of it, like in games, you may not like this experience. But
that's part of the fun.
Part of the game. Then that's part of the. It's just chaotic fun.
Yep. All right,
and the winner is
Galaxy Trucker. No surprise there. I voted for Great Western Trail. All right, this last pairing is interesting. You've got the behemoth that is Gloomhaven versus a better at higher player count Gugong.
Yes.
I thoroughly enjoyed my one play of Gugong. I thought it was fantastic.
And I've played a few times of Gugong, and playing it at the 6-player count was a really fun experience. And
that's what we played at,
the 5-player
The 5-player count?
Yeah, it was a 5-player count, and playing at that was a really fun experience. And it also has that win condition that if you don't, you have to get to a certain level, like get to the end finish line, as it were, to be able to even score. If you don't, it reminds me of Clank, and like if you don't get past the certain threshold, you don't score any points.
Yeah.
Which can color, like, some people don't love that about it, but I thought it was really interesting. But the card mechanism of picking up different cards and using those to be able to go and take actions in different areas, I thought it was a really interesting game.
Not getting to the top of that staircase and scoring 0 or whatever feels much worse than blowing around in Quacks.
Oh, I was thinking you were going to say Clank.
And here we go, back to Quacks.
Interestingly enough, do you know who the Gugong designer is and what he also designed?
I did at one point.
I did at one point.
Andreas Stedding.
Oh, he did Hansa, right?
He designed Hansa Teutonica.
Yes, he did. Yep.
Well, among other games, but
yeah. This is because this is a Game Brewer title, and Game Brewer. Basically, Andreas Stedding they were publishing most of his titles at that point in time. Little interesting fact, I used to work for Game Brewer, so that's how I got this game, and it was really interesting. I wouldn't have looked at it otherwise, but now knowing it's a Hansa game, I didn't realize Hansa was designed by Andreas Stedding.
I sold my copy of Gugong, and then we played the 5-player, and it made me regret selling it. I think the game is way better at 5-player than it is at 3-player.
Yeah. Well, it's because the amount of exchanging the cards and everything that's going on the board there's a lot more change up and options with more players, I think.
Yeah, we got to get this one out again. That's a fun game.
Should we talk about the other game, Gloomhaven?
I've never heard of it.
It's a little known game, and it's a very little game. No, it's a giant behemoth of a game, like Tyler said, right?
Yeah.
And it was sitting in #1 spot on Board Game Geek list for a long time. Highest raised Kickstarter ever. Really big narrative system. I've played through the campaign of the first game and had an amazing time with it. One of my best gaming experiences, honestly. I played it with a buddy, and we just went through and had a lot of fun.
I will say Logan has purchased Button and Bugs and has played most of it and loves it and is like, this is Gloomhaven in a tiny box.
It is.
Nice.
And for me, that may be the way that I get Gloomhaven played at all.
Buttons and bugs.
But it has an interesting card mechanism, right? Like the top, bottom, and you have to choose the top of one and the bottom of the other.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I want to play through Jaws of the Lion next, after I finish Clank Legacy, but okay.
So should we pick?
Yep.
And the winner is Gugong.
Wow.
I
chose Gloomhaven.
Slightly surprising.
I this one was a hard pick for me too. I've played 10 to 15 games of Gloomhaven. I didn't love when we got stuck on a scenario, and
That is my biggest complaint.
We had to play it
You
like
have to
3
grind the
times.
scenario until you get past the scenario.
And I think we're on a scenario that we never passed, and then we stopped playing, and now it's 4 years later.
Yeah,
so.
there's no fail forward in this game.
Yeah.
There's it's all just do it until you succeed. And that's something I just don't like about it. Interestingly, though, I did predict that you guys would both choose Gugong and Gloomhaven would fall off this list. So
I think I
actually predicted Gloomhaven because I think at the time I was going to pick Gloomhaven, but we
yeah,
started
but
talking
that's like my
about Gugong,
fromage
and I'm
fishing situation.
Gugong is fun.
It is fun. All right, Gaia Project versus a Jest of Robin Hood.
And the winner is Jest of Robin Hood.
All right, I think that's what I predicted. I went with Gaia. I was the dissenting vote.
And we got Galaxy Trucker and Gugong.
This is an interesting lineup, right? Because, like we said, there's a lot of favor for both of these from different places. I don't know. We'll see how this one works.
1, 2,
And
3.
the winner is Gugong.
Gugong. All right.
Sorry, I knew what you two were choosing, and so I feel fairly confident. Kevin chose Galaxy Trucker.
I chose Galaxy Trucker. Yeah.
All right, we've got a Jest of Robin Hood and Gugong for the final, for the winner of the G's.
Yep. So this will be interesting. And the winner
1, 2,
is
3. Robin Hood.
Unanimously.
Wow. Okay. I picked horribly.
All right.
Imagine how our listeners are feeling right now.
Okay.
Wow.
H brackets. Hoplomachus. We just did feature review of that whole system. Go listen to that episode.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't need to talk anything more about that.
Yeah. Hive. I have
Hive.
no idea about something with bees.
No, it's
It's bugs.
basically it's kind of like a chess. It's a chess-like game.
It's
right?
a tile placement abstract game.
Like
that is
Battleship.
chess-like.
So you're trying to no, you're trying to surround the other player's queen bee, right? And all of your tiles have a different ability. So the spider can go 3 spaces around the hive, for example. I think the beetle can climb up on top of other pieces on the hive, and you're trying to tactically play where you're getting your opponent's bee stuck and surrounded, right? So it's very tactical, super fun. I played this one a ton.
The interesting thing about both of these games is that you could play both of these games in hot tubs.
Wow. I didn't think that's where you were going, but you are right.
Or a tub full of Jello
Jello, whatever you want.
with broccoli in it.
That is... What? Okay, it was weird already when Tyson said it, but it just got even more weird.
Shelley's grandma or great grandma used to
Broccoli
put the
Jell-O?
weirdest stuff in Jello.
That's not.
I've only heard stories, but yeah.
Well, let's vote on this instead of Jello broccoli.
Getting late, people. Okay.
And the winner is
Hoplomachus.
Oh.
That was kind of a beast going against a little guy. Right?
Yeah.
That was
I
like
love
David versus
Hive,
Goliath,
right? But it's
And the
just-
Hive is a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
All right, our next pairing is Horrified and Heaven and Ale.
Horrified.
Cooperative.
Game where there's a bunch of different versions of Horrified. 4 at this point.
I kind of want the D&D one.
Yes, I agree. Everyone that I've played has been fantastic. You're playing against the classic monsters,
American Hollywood
and then
movie.
Feels
the
very
American monsters,
pandemic-like,
yeah, pandemic-like, but done really well. And I think it's more of a family weight game.
And then there's Greek mythology monsters too.
There's
right?
the Greek ones as well. I love it. I think it's a great game.
Americana or something. Ones,
Yeah.
or-
Like cryptids and stuff. and-
Okay.
Going up against Heaven and Hell. I have nothing to say about this game because I have never played it.
I've played it and I love it. It is a go around the rondel, kind of like Yokmok, where the further along
You have my
are,
attention.
the person at the furthest back goes next, right?
Nice.
And so you can skip way ahead, but then when you get to the end of the path, you're just done for that round. You don't just keep going around and around. And I think there's 3 rounds. You're brewing beer and you're a monk selling beer, and I don't know. I like it. It's similar to Yokmok in some ways.
Nice. Okay.
You're really selling this one. I mean,
It does sound
it's
good.
been a while since I played
agree.
it.
No, it sounds like
What are we going up against?
Horrified.
Okay.
I guess we know where you're voting.
The broccoli jello thing kind of threw you off there, I think.
That's right. All right. I know I've got the dissenting vote.
And the winner is
Heaven and Ale.
What? Tyson? You voted for Heaven and Ale because Horrified's cooperative?
and I've never played either, so.
Oh, I did not take that into account.
But that was absolutely it because
Man.
Horrified is cooperative. I went for Heaven and Ale.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, I did sell
I mean,
it
I
then,
feel really
You
bad.
did. I was just giving you a hard time.
All right. So a game with deep ties to this group. Hansa Teutonica and Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle.
I've been playing Hansa Teutonica for years. Fantastic game. One of the driest games you'll ever play. It's a cube pusher,
It
like any cube pusher.
it looks beige and it's got cubes and face value may not sell you on this one.
and it's a mean game, but everybody's being mean. Like you're kicking people off of routes,
Yep.
but you're getting a bonus when you get kicked off of a route. You're blocking people. There's you're trying to level up your board to get more powerful actions. It's got variable paths to victory. It's got a lot of good stuff in it, and I absolutely love it.
It feels like it's got the same level of mean as Twa does. Like
Yeah,
when you do
right.
something mean, they get a small benefit,
Yep.
but you get a benefit by being mean.
Yeah.
And-
you want to get kicked out of locations, really,
Yeah.
because you get more cubes out onto the board, which then you can move with other actions to places where you want to go. Love it. Great game.
And then you got Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. This
Another great game.
is a deck building game where you go through all 7 books
Right.
of Harry Potter, and as you do, your cards and your game is increasing in difficulty. Your characters, you're playing Harry, Ron, Hermione, Neville, are all increasing in age. It's got the movie artwork. I saw this one. I got a free copy of this one to demo, and I remember at the time, this was a period of time where I was very much in the camp of, if it's an IP game, it's going to be
It's
garbage.
Terrible.
Yeah. And so I was like, I have no expectations for this. And I was very pleasantly surprised by this game and what it did. Played through the whole campaign, started playing it with my kids. Like, I think this is a phenomenal introduction to deck building, especially if you're a Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, we played through the whole thing with our neighbors and had a blast. It's a great game.
So should we vote?
Oh, it's going to be tough.
And the winner is
Hansa
Teutonica. I voted for Harry Potter.
I have not played Harry Potter, the deck building game. It's
Good.
Both
really
are
good.
Yeah.
Wizards World,
Yeah.
whatever.
And the last
Hogwarts
lineup
Battle.
we've got.
Hogwarts Battle, yeah.
So the last lineup we have is Harvest and Harmonies. So Harvest is a game we've talked on the podcast about recently, and it's a re-implemented Tasty Minstrel game recently that is a worker placement game. This is a very good introductory worker placement game that I would play with anybody, and I have a lot of I think it can be played by anybody, but you're essentially building your farm and trying. I'm talking about the newest
The new
version
version,
of
yeah.
Harvest, which I think Tyler has experienced the old version of Harvest. I think there's some mechanical changes and definitely aesthetic changes in it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful game.
It's really pretty. You're building your farm, planting crops, harvesting them, watering them, taking them to market, a worker placement game. I think this is a really well done game. But then we also have Harmonies.
Harmonies.
Yeah. Only played it on Board Game Arena.
I have only played it on Board Game Arena too. I have enjoyed all of my plays on Board Game Arena. I'm terrible.
I think I'm terrible too.
But you're drafting discs to play on the board. You're trying to get stacks to match cards and fulfill those cards.
A little bit of a Cascadia feel to it.
And I think people have compared it to Cascadia.
It's already 84th overall on the BGG top.
Yeah, no, it's
100.
it's
very
super
kind of
popular.
skyrocketed up.
Yep.
Very Cascadia feel, if not with a mechanical similarity, but at least with like the aesthetic vibe that this game is giving. It's very similar. I think it's natural kind of art, like environmental stuff.
Very colorful, like
Yeah.
Cascadia. Yeah.
Variable scoring techniques and things like that. So
Did I not pick Cascadia for C's? I missed Cascadia.
Oh, should we?
what a travesty.
We got to go back and read it. No, I love
re-release that
Cascadia.
episode?
I don't know if you guys would have.
I could tell you that it probably would have
It wouldn't
beat out
have advanced.
many of them.
Yeah.
How did I forget Cascadia?
Because you had clans and you had Cthulhu and
Clank.
and Clank and
Oh yeah.
Cornucopia or whatever that one
That's
is.
not a thing.
Concordia.
Concordia.
Okay, there's a lot of good C's, but
Yeah.
Cascadia is good. All right.
All right.
Anyway, back to this one.
Yeah.
So
ready?
between Harvest and Harmonies, we're going to vote. Ready?
Harmony.
Harmonies.
I voted Harmony. Harmonies? No, I voted Harvest.
I've only played Harvest, the TMG one. Logan had it. We played it when he was 11, 6 years ago, and it was pretty basic.
Yeah, and I
didn't win me over.
Yeah.
But
Played on BGA once, maybe, and
Yeah.
didn't really grasp the game. But
all right,
Harmonies
we're
is
going to Hoplomachus versus Heaven and Ale.
oh man,
That's a rough one. Right?
This is interesting. Yeah. All right,
here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Hoplomachus.
Oh, all right, that was unanimous. We've got Hansa Teutonica versus Harmonies.
and here we go.
Hansa, unanimous.
Okay,
Okay,
unanimous.
lots of unanimous this episode.
I think there's a lot more of the some that we've all played and some that we have very few played.
Yeah. All right, so this is Hoplomachus for the win versus Hansa Teutonica.
And
1, 2, 3. Hansa.
Hansa with one
Tyson
Hoplo.
had a Hoplomachus vote.
I did have a Hoplomachus vote.
man,
I'm terrible.
There's some.
I'm terrible at Hansa, but it's a great game.
It is, but I still think Hoplomachus Victorum, the solo campaign experience, I've had a lot more fun with than
it's good. It's
Hansa.
good. So let's do a recap of the winners.
So we got Expeditions for the E bracket,
Nice.
Fromage for the F bracket, A Jest of Robin Hood for the G bracket, and Hansa Teutonica for the H bracket.
So all solid games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's good. That's good stuff.
I don't know that they can still compare with the A through D winners.
That was A through D
other
was
than
good.
the C one or the
Well, yeah, way to
B one.
spoil the final matchups here.
yeah. Well, some foreshadowing.
Yeah, exactly. There are some great games here, but I do think that A through D had a lot harder decisions in general. And some of the pairings in A through D weren't so hard, like Cockroach Poker meets Cthulhu. So, like, I mean,
That's just a funny matchup.
There were some interesting games that got left off these lists. I mean, that one of us nominated,
Yes.
but it didn't get enough votes to make it to the bracket. For me, I had Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. Neither of you guys have played that. It's fantastic. Fall of Rome is my favorite version of
good
Pandemic.
Yep.
Outside of Legacy. First Rat, Furnace. Kevin had put that down. That's a
I love Furnace.
I had
That is-
considered putting Furnace
That's a
on,
great
but-
game. And Formula D. I know you guys aren't big fans. I don't know if you've even
I've never played it.
but I'm having so much fun with that one on BGA right now. It's fantastic. So that's
I'm
another
just
good
not
one.
a huge race fan game, like in general, but like
Yeah, I had
want
Heat on my list, and it
Which-
didn't get picked by anybody else.
that's partially because we haven't played all of some of these, right? Like I had Eschaton, and I can't believe you guys didn't select it.
Yeah, how did that not make it?
Yeah,
That's not a terrible game.
no, it's
it's
dark and broody, but
No, but I mean, I've got a financial investment in the company at
I
this
don't know
point
if
that I
I-
have to pitch Eschaton.
Yeah, those
any
card
chance I
sleeves.
get.
yeah, this card.
Take out a loan. Yeah, pick me up some card sleeves from Origins, why don't you? You realize this is going to cost you like $60.
You're gonna have to take out a second
I
mortgage.
mean,
to
they
get
are
these
very
sleeves.
cool card sleeves.
They are. They're very good.
Yeah, thanks.
Some of the
We've
nicer
seen them
ones.
once.
The fact that you have them, it just makes it even better.
Yeah. The Great Wall, you guys haven't played that. Guillotine, have you guys ever played that?
Yeah, it's fun.
I really, that was one of the games that Shelly and I played back in the day all the time when we had no money and free time, I guess.
Yeah. No, we played that one too, and that one's fun.
Yeah.
Played it with friends.
I had a Game of Thrones, the board game on there. I had such good memories and experience with this. I've talked about this one before on the podcast. Amazes me some of the games that are probably very popular for the masses, right? Everybody at large, that we probably leave off of these lists simply because we haven't either played them, Guillotine, or like we have played them and maybe didn't connect with them the same way. Great Western Trail being like a good example of that, right? I'm sure in a lot of people's brackets, Great Western Trail would have made it all the way to the end.
Absolutely.
Probably wins the bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe a lot of brackets got busted.
Yeah.
Because maybe not all of our listeners know that it's not.
We haven't talked about
I
Great
haven't
Western
talked
Trail
about it a ton.
recently.
Yeah.
I love that fact, though, right? Because if you're a long-time listener, you're going to have a little bit of a
advantage,
leg up, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of an advantage.
General
right?
Orders, World War II. That almost made my list. It was on Kevin's.
David Thompson design. I have just such a great memory of picking that up at Gen Con.
Gen Con, and then we played it inside the Colt Stadium.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
we just
was
walked.
cool.
We walked over and just broke it out and played it and struggled probably a little bit more than we should have with the rules, but but we figured it out and played a few rounds and it was awesome.
It was.
Loved
It was
it.
fun.
I loved it.
That was a great memory. Golden Ages with that amazing art. We could have had Hansa and Golden Ages in the same episode.
Well, that we should do.
That lineup could have been.
We could do best artwork in a board game or worst artwork in a board game and do some sort of
Most memorable artwork in a game.
do a bracket with that, right? That would be awesome.
H's. I said I had Heat, Hand and Foot, great card game. Hearts, great card game. But I struggled for H games.
Yeah, I did a little bit too, but I have Her Story in there, which I really enjoyed that with my family. And reading the history of these great women in history was awesome. So love that one.
Well, I thought, like, hearing you talk about Her Story, Kevin, in the past has made me have like an affinity for the game without ever having played it. But like, again, I hadn't played it, so it doesn't get into the brackets, right? It doesn't make it. It's interesting how some of these work out. Hearts.
It's a weird one.
It's a great game.
It is great. Rebel Princess is
hard.
infinitely
Like,
better than
Well,
just
I know
normal
that,
hearts.
but when you're trying to come up with a freaking H game,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
no, I
Agreed.
agree. I mean, Hand and Foot is a card game too. I mean,
It's grasping at straws
it's
here.
like Pounce and Euchre and all these random card games.
In D's, I should have just done deck of cards.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, that did make a top 5 list at one point.
Mine.
Yeah, it did. I don't remember what top 5.
It
I
was
don't
like
either. You guys give me so much crap for that.
It
but
was like episode 0. It was like
Yeah.
the memory, or like the most influential games.
Deck of cards.
it was. Yes, the most influential games.
Yeah.
I
Biggest
stand
impact.
by that pick still.
Yeah, see, so I'm going to stand by my Hearts and Hand and Foot nominations because
Okay,
they're
I accept that.
garbage H games. It was almost
You
as
just
bad
need
as
to
picking the
broaden your
E's.
horizons.
I'm really nervous about I. Well, I think I will be okay.
There's
J,
a couple letters.
J
that's
and
gonna
K
be
are
goofy.
going to be, I think, a little brutal.
Yokmok.
Yeah, there's one.
That's it.
We're gonna. I mean, we may have to combine some letters. I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out.
I was a little disappointed Guild of Merchant Explorers didn't make Kevin's list.
Some people
Again, not a terrible game, but not going to make any lists.
Not
I don't
worthy
think,
of
so.
being nominated for Spiel, which it was.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
Or Kenner Spiel, one of the two. Yeah.
I'll be curious.
I think these are really fun.
I
to
do too. And I based off of the conversations that happened in our Discord after, I'll be curious to see how upset some of our listeners end up being with us after this episode, because I think A through D at least had there was good indication about where we might be leaning if you were a longtime listener and you know our preferences, right? This one doesn't necessarily follow that same trend.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm looking forward to I. I'm looking at the
I
I
think
games.
I is great.
I is fantastic.
Yeah.
There's easily 8 I games that
Yeah.
I could pick. But yeah, there's going to be some issues there on other letters.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But yeah, this is really fun. Should we announce the winner?
let's do it.
So there's actually a tie between,
I Play Games and Andrew J.
and the randomized winner is,
I Play Games.
congrats! That wraps up our bracketology E through H. Tune in for our next bracketology episode. It might be a little bit before we do another one. Tune in and join us for another episode. I'm having a blast with these. I kind of want to just go through the whole alphabet.
Yeah,
I'm
these
not
are
gonna lie.
a lot of fun.
These are easy episodes to do, and I don't know.
And they're fun. Yeah, they're fun to record.
They're fun to record. It's fun to see the discussion, and
we're talking about some games that
Don't always get talked about.
Don't always get talked
about, and not everybody at the table feels unanimously about one way
And there
or
are
the
some
other.
negative or salty, at least, experiences here that are fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Longest Turn Board Gaming Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you want more Longest Turn in your life, please check us out on Instagram. Also, be sure to check us out on Board Game Geek, where you can join our guild, Guild 3947, and check out our blog, where we post all our show notes and occasionally post more detailed reviews. If that's not enough for you, we have a Discord server. If you want to play a game with us on Board Game Arena, join our Board Game Arena group, The Longest Turn. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Tot ziens.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Yeah,
So I think
cut
that. Sorry. Bad timing.